Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be unto you. I'm Sister Starla Muhammad, and I proudly serve as managing editor of the Final Call newspaper, the Nation of Islam's nationally distributed and award-winning Black-owned weekly, founded by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and is available in print and digital. To our viewing audience this evening, welcome to this edition of a Final Call conversation. We are, of course, streaming live and are very excited you've joined us for what we hope and pray will be a very informative, lively, and illuminating dialogue and discussion with hip-hop legend, lyrical god, the incomparable Busta Rhymes. For the next hour, inshallah, God willing, we will delve into his new release, which, if you haven't checked it out by now, is fire. Extinction Level Event 2, The Wrath of God, just dropped. And I mean, the title alone should tell you what time it is. But before we bring our brother on, I must introduce my co-host who will be part of the dialogue this evening and who is also no stranger to bringing the scholastic and research fire, and that is student minister Dr. Wesley Muhammad. Brother Dr. Wesley Muhammad is a student minister in the Nation of Islam who sits on the executive council of the governing body of the Nation of Islam under the direction and guidance of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Brother Dr. Wesley is also a member of Minister Farrakhan's personal research team. He holds a bachelor's degree in religious studies from Morehouse College, a bachelor's degree and doctorate degree in Islamic studies from the University of Michigan. He is published in several peer-reviewed scholarly journals and has also written for the Final Call newspaper. Brother Dr. Wesley is the author of several books, including Understanding the Assault on the Black Man, Volumes 1 and 2, and The Book of God, an encyclopedia of proof that the Black man is God. Welcome, Brother Dr. Wesley, and assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sister, dear Sister Starla. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful by Allah's grace and mercy.
Great.
Looking forward to this dialogue this evening with our brother.
As am I. It's very exciting.
Yes, sir, it is. It is. I know you've checked out his new release already.
Absolutely. It's very timely, it strikes me with some cosmic significance, if you will. I'm sure we will have an opportunity to unpack that. The moment, the God Busta is seizing a moment right now, and it's a great moment that he's seizing. It's a great moment to lift up the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad by lifting up his teacher, Master Fard Muhammad, in a way that I have not seen, quite frankly. Though a lot of great hip-hop artists have represented the Islam of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But there's something very unique in this particular moment that I am excited about and look forward to unpacking it with the God Busta.
Yes, sir. Well, without further delay, if our brother is ready, let's bring on our brother Busta Bust to delve into ELE2, The Wrath of God. Assalamu alaikum.
Peace
to the God.
Peace, Queen.
Peace, my brother.
Peace. Wonderful. This is such an honor and pleasure.
All praises.
Thank you so much, Sister Starla. Dr. West. All praises due to her, without question. Dr. West, how you doing, sir?
I'm good, God. How you be?
I'm wise and civilized, and, you know, just constant journey to strive for the perfection that we supposed to strive for every day is being the true and living. So
that's,
you know, I'm just carrying out my duty. I'm basking in it. I definitely feel just the overwhelming love and the overwhelming receiving of this 11-year body of work. It is the most rewarding feeling that I've had in a long time. And I'm floating on a whole other plane of energy right now. You know, so I'm very elated. I'm reinvigorated. I'm super inspired again to keep it going and keep it growing. and I'm just in a very peaceful place. I'm super happy, and I'm super at peace with the way things is transpiring right now. So it's a beautiful time.
Right.
All praise due to Allah. Yes, sir. Well, my brother, we are most certainly humbled and honored that you took time out of your schedule to be with us this evening. So let's get right to it. ELE2, the wrath of God. You unpack and get into very, very timely subject matter in several of your tracks. But where I'd like to start is first with having you share what went into your decision to feature Minister Farrakhan on your project, not just on your project, but the title track. How did that come about, and what went into you deciding what particular excerpt of the minister that you would use, and was there a particular tone you were trying to set with that excerpt?
Yes, Sister Starla. There is no plan that has cut deep into my soul in the way that the minister has.
Mm.
Every time I bear witness to man, this incredible man, there's something else that just happens to me. I remember the first day that I saw him in person.
Mm.
We was in Los Angeles, right? And Sister Daphne Wayans, she invited me to, she knows for a long time how much I've been wanting to be in the same space with the minister. And she took the initiative to organize that coming to fruition of that moment for me, and surprised me. Today she said, I need you to be at this location. I'm here with the minister right now. So I stopped everything that I was in the middle of. Pew! I speak over to the minister. It ain't nothing faster than so I get to this location, and I'm walking the corridor, and someone came to meet me in this parking lot. About four of the brothers. So walking down this corridor, we get on the elevator. I think we get off on like the second or the third floor. And as we're walking down the corridor, the whole corridor is lined up with the fruit. And I'm walking between the brothers. And the door opens. When we get to the door, one of the fruit that came to meet me in the parking lot gets to the door and presses the doorbell. And when he pressed the doorbell, and the sister that was inside, she opened the door, all of the fruit turned around and had their backs to the door, as if they're not supposed to look in there. So I'm looking at all of this and experiencing this for the first time, and it was just, everything spoke in volumes to me in a very powerful way. So I was finally given the consent to walk inside, because the way they turned around and had their backs facing the door, I almost felt like maybe I shouldn't go inside yet. So I got the consent to walk inside, and I walked inside. I took about 5 or 6 steps, and then I just stopped. And the minister was sitting at the dinner table with Daphne Wayans and her children. And I couldn't believe that I was actually looking at the minister. I started to just get confused about what I should do, what I shouldn't. I just didn't want to do nothing wrong. That's just the respect level and the regard that I hold a minister in. You know, in my mind, I'm like, this is the last man alive that walked with Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This is the last man alive that walked with Malcolm X. This is the last man alive that walked with Martin Luther King. It's the last man alive. And Kennedy, President Kennedy was around. It's the last man alive Father Clarence 13X, who founded the 5% Nation of the Gods and Earth, was alive. And he's here, and I'm in the same proximity in space with this man in real time and space.
Yes, sir.
I was like, I was so blown away. I started to actually tremble a little bit. And I just felt myself and the anxiety and the adrenaline, it was actually weakening me. It was like the exact moment in the scene when Spike Lee redid the Malcolm X movie and Denzel Washington got a chance to meet Honorable Elijah Muhammad for the first time. And he just kind of started to lose his strength in his legs and he started crying.
Yes, sir.
The minister got up and walked towards me because I started crying. I ain't never really felt no man do that to me in my life. No, it's not just a feeling. No man has done that to me in my life. That's alive. So I was just so, it was tears of joy, but it was just also a little bit of disbelief because this is the regard that I hold this man in, right? All of the years of me watching Savior's Day moments and me going to the Million Man March when I was in my 20s and me kind of just, being raised by the science and the teachings of the minister and the science and the teachings of Clarence 13X, being that I first got my knowledge of stuff when I was 12 years old, one with the 5% Nation of the Gods and Earths. So as I'm standing there and I'm definitely crying tears, he put his arms around me and hugged me. And it's an absolute pleasure to meet you, brother. And that's when the crying got worse. So I got together and then he got me to the table. So we went, ate dinner, and I'm just hearing so much beautiful dialogue between him and Daphne Wayans and the children and myself. And we just having a great, beautiful time. Energy, just the love resonating in the room so beautifully. And then the ill thing about it for me was for the first time, I was really getting a clear understanding on, because we was eating food. And I was listening to the minister talk about this food came from his land at his farm. And that hit me a whole other way too. I was like, sometimes I don't really, I take for granted the great lengths has to be gone to secure the well-being of this man. You can't shop nowhere, no grocery to get no grocery from the food. You can't eat nobody else's food, period, nowhere. He literally has to grow his food. That's serious to me. Like when I really realized what was happening, I was like, man, listen, this is ain't nothing regular about this. But it's such a component and a pure exemplification of self-sufficiency, but in the most literal sense and meaning of the word.
Yes, sir.
So moments like that, because I got the opportunity to sit with the minister again in a separate time at the same dinner table, at the same location. And this time it was me and big bro Stevie Wonder and one of Stevie Wonder's partners. And I had my recording engineer by the name of Ricky St. Hilaire. And Stevie Wonder's partner also deals with farmland that he owns. Sitting there the second time, that's when they started to really get into the deepness of farming and agriculture law and the things that they face as obstacles because of how, you know, the powers that be try to make it very complicated for those who can grow their own food on their own land, which makes them less dependent on the government. They create these obstacles for them to not allow it to be as easy for them to do that.
Yes, sir.
And I'm listening and I'm learning that these challenges, which is something that I have no clue about because I don't farm. I don't own farmland. But I felt like I needed to start really inquiring and figuring how do I get into that, because it's a needed component, especially with the information that I've acquired over the years, having knowledge of self and constantly dealing with research and the science of just the infinite knowledge that exists as far as, you know, the empowerment of our people and as far as the constant growth and evolution of our people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I'm just taking all of this and I'm actually watching what these experiences with the ministry started to do for me. And when I got the opportunity to get to this point of my project with the album, and I found this particular track that was produced by this brother named Knots from Virginia. It sounded like, because he produced this track for me, I would say about 2 years before the COVID shutdown.
Okay.
And I just lived with the beat for a minute because it just sounded so powerful. It didn't sound like I should be making a regular song to this beat. It sounded like this is actually the theme music to something way bigger than a song. So I actually wrote a different verse first. I lived with it. And the verse didn't really encompass the proper messaging. It was me being powerful in my delivery because it felt big and it felt strong and it felt powerful. So I gave myself to it in that way through my performance, but not through the message. And living with it, I just felt like I didn't do this track the justice that I was supposed to do it. And I went back, visited the song. I revisited the song after I came across that Rock Newman excerpt of the minister speaking. And when I saw that piece, I said, I watched it about 14 times in different instances because I started to show it to people because I wanted to see if the effect that this particular speech or conversation that the minister was having with Rock Newman and the effect that I wanted to see that reaction or whatever the reaction was going to be from everybody that I showed it to. Because I knew I wasn't crazy. The way it make it feel, it was doing something else to me. Like I can't even describe it. I've never seen no man on this earth talk like that. Not no man. I don't care what power they think they got. I don't care what position of power that they are in. I don't care how long they've been alive. I've never seen a man speak like that and then make me feel like that through what he's saying. Never felt like that. I'm showing it to people in reaction. I'm looking at every reaction. And it was a general consensus that everyone that saw it, the facial expressions started to become uncontrollable. I don't even think people realize how he was looking to themselves, because their face was doing as they was listening to this. And they were being affected emotionally by what the minister was saying. So it just constantly, I mean, I had made my own decision on what I was going to do with it without seeing anybody's reaction.
Yes, sir.
But I just needed to see how, if I use this, like what's going on in my mind and what I know I'm trying to do with this, I wanted to make sure that I was being a little mindful of how this would affect people, because that ain't, you know what I'm saying? It's not regular talk. I don't know if we ever gonna hear some talk like that again unless it's coming from the minister.
Yes, sir.
But I took the piece that did that thing to my soul and I put it on that music. And then we added live orchestration to empower the different moments in what the minister was saying, almost like we were creating a movie score, like we were scoring a film. And then I went back and rewrote my verse. And I sent it to Enoch. And I said, Brother Don, I need you to please get this to the minister so he can hear it and give me his blessing on allowing me to use this and give this to the world. And Brother Don not only did that, he saw this whole thing through all the way down to the paperwork, the legal documents, everything that needed to be done so that I could get the official right.
Yes, sir.
And it was a divine moment to me because it didn't matter what song I made after that or before that. It wasn't nothing that felt more appropriate or the title track of the album other than that song with the minister. So
Yes, sir.
I'm just super grateful that he gave me his blessing. I'm super grateful to Brother Don and everybody else involved that, you know, got it cleared and handled all of the legal side of things so we could share this with the world. And I'm especially grateful for the fact that it's just sometimes you got to look at things. When I say that this is a divine moment, it's like you don't know when you're going to stumble on the pieces that you need. It just sometimes falls in your lap. But it falls in your lap when you needed it the most, even though you didn't know that you needed the particular thing that you got blessed with. It's almost like not only did I get gifted with something and I stumbled on this at the time and I needed it the most, but it superseded what I thought I was actually looking for. It was like I knew I was putting it in the universe that I wanted something extremely powerful, man, but I did not know what was going to be this. You know what I'm saying? Like this superseded everything that I thought I really wanted. And I'm gonna tell you, it was even more incredible. One day I was on my way to Radio City Music Hall, and this is after the song is done and everything is a go. I was on my way to Radio City Music Hall, and Dave Chappelle was performing in there 10 shows. And I was at the back door entrance, but I was still sitting in my car. And Brother Don gave me a call and said that the minister was available to speak to me. And on the phone with the minister. And the conversation that we had was about the song and how powerfully, what's the right word that I'm looking for? How powerfully disruptive the song is, but how needed the song is. And sometimes we gotta be disruptive.
Yes, sir.
Because, when you deal with 12th degree in the supreme alphabet, is love, hell, or right. Got to go through love and hell in order for things to turn out right. Sometimes we gotta give them a little bit of hell.
Yes, sir.
And it's in direct correlation with what the wrath of God is dealing with. We in a time looking at everything that's going on, and we grew up in an era of accountability. Seems like that's been lacking a little bit lately.
Yes, sir.
We look at police killing Black people, ain't nobody getting held accountable. Everybody getting away with it. It don't matter if a Democrat or a Republican is in office. Black people are still getting the short end of the stick in a disproportionate fashion. And, this generation of, we tired. And it ain't just Black people. And there's an awakening happening right now.
Yes, sir.
And there is a uprising happening, and there is all of these things happening at the same time. And ain't none of this coincidental. Some of it might be, an agenda that certain people in position of power might bring to the facilitation of this tension that's happening out here.
Yes,
but then there's a whole nother man ain't got nothing to do with that's contributing to this elevated level of consciousness, because y'all ain't giving people nothing but time if you allowing them the opportunity to be distracted as much as they used to be. People can't work, can't go to the club, can't go to the gym, can't hang out nowhere. They're telling you to stay 6 feet apart from your people and your loved ones. They're telling you to do everything that not only do people got to with, they're tired of it, and people are looking for answers.
Yes,
so people are doing a lot of research, and people are doing a lot of investigating, and people are doing a lot of questioning, and people are remembering that they do have a mind, a great one.
Yes, sir.
And you should investigate things, and you should deal with the research, and you should deal with reading between the lines, because we, as people of Islam, Muslim, 5%, we was raised and groomed and in shape to deal with show and prove. We ain't just taking everything or anything on face value. We want to understand, because understanding is the best part. The reflection of knowledge and wisdom. It's the absence to all confusion. So we're not just going to take what you say on face value if we don't understand clearly what you're saying. And especially if the narrative of what you're saying ain't consistent. Okay?
Yes,
so with that being said, this is where you now got back to end that thing that's greater than man. Accountability is starting to happen for real. And people ain't just sitting around here complying no more.
Yes, sir.
People, why should we just be going along with what you're saying? If there's inconsistency in what you're saying, and they starting to feel this collective kinetic energy that is starting to over. And I like to refer to it as the wrath of God, because there's a day of reckoning happening right now. And I just feel like it's always a duty of ours. And I don't feel like that. This is what we've been taught. It's our duty to teach. It's our duty to empower people. It's our duty to give the science to everyone that is willing to listen, especially when it comes to our people.
Yes, sir.
So I'm just trying to do and carry out my duty. And I'm also trying to empower myself constantly, because we actually got to live it before we can talk it.
Yes, sir.
And, at 48 years old, I think I'm in a very beautiful place in my life where I've not only grown to understand who I'm supposed to be as a man at this stage of my life, I've also learned over these years and experiences how I need to apply to what I've learned.
Mm.
And throughout this incredible, blessed opportunity that I've had to be Busta Rhymes, a recording artist, Busta Rhymes, a man of significant information. Busta Rhymes is the father. Busta Rhymes, my mother's oldest son. All of these things, I think I've learned how to do them in the way that I'm supposed to, because you don't get no manual on how to be the proper or the best anything. Experience is the best, obviously. Knowledge is also one of the greatest teachers. And having the minister on the title track of my album, me making sure that I continue to carry out my duty to give people a body of work that was a cohesive body of work, reestablishing the feeling that came from the experiences of listening to body work from the first second of the audio to the last minute of the audio, and what that used to feel like. What it used to feel like, just played it straight through, and it was so compelling. You didn't have to skip nothing. And you also, when you played it straight through, you was able to stumble on the hidden treasures in the song that might not even be listed in the track listing. The beat might switch up on the end of a James Brown song, and you ain't know nothing about that until you listen to the whole record and you get to like the 5th minute of the song, because it's really a 7-minute extended play. The whole song sounded one way for the first 5 minutes. You get to the 6th minute, and now the beat doing something else that making you want to bounce off the wall in your house. It's making you impulsively and instinctively react in a way where you can't even control yourself, because it's cutting so deep into your soul that you feel so good that you just start doing everything to express how good that is making you feel. But you would have never got to that place if you didn't just listen straight through. And I feel like I did an amazing job with the amazing and incredible people that came to participate and give a piece of themselves to this, and shared emotions with me, and shared conviction, and shared passion, and shared their truth. I don't even know how to value something so precious and priceless.
Yes, sir.
Is that it ended up evolving into this thing that when it finally felt like it was complete, there ain't no way in the world I went into this knowing that it was going to take 11 years to find all of the magic moments to make this body of work as it ended up becoming. Certain magic I didn't get until 7 years into the recording process, 9 years into the recording process. I didn't get these gifts all at the same time. It was like patience, brother.
Mm.
Don't matter how you're ready. Yeah, I know sometimes on this journey you're gonna go through some challenges that's gonna be unbearable. Trust the process and just know if you see it through, you would have been conditioned to receive probably one of the greatest rewards that you have ever and could have ever imagined in your life. And that's what's happening actually right now. So here I have the Ignition Level Event 2, The Wrath of God. And it's not something that just sounds like a cool title. I actually have been blessed with the substance that shows and proves. It's a title that delivered everything that lives up to it.
Yes, sir.
And then when you get to the minister talk, that's when it's just like, yo, it's like the phone calls that I get behind what the minister had to say. There's certain people that found my phone number that I've never actually spoken to before this album. I didn't even understand how they got my phone number. I'm glad that it was the people that was calling, though. Sometimes, you get calls that you don't want to hear from certain individuals. But I got calls from very, very interesting and beautiful and smart people that really appreciated it. And surprisingly, the types of people, that some of them ain't got nothing to do with music.
Mm.
They just love what the minister's words stood on.
Yes, sir.
And the passion and the conviction and the seriousness behind what the minister had to say. And then when they started to see the consistency throughout the album, show of the album, where we got the God Rock on there, and we talking about science. And then we get to the purge where we're addressing the protesting, and we not just marching no more, man. We tired. We tired. We ain't doing that no more. Like something has to give. We're gonna talk with our actions because we tired of talking. Then we get to the wrath of God with the minister. And that's when you start blowing everybody away. And then we get back to the science again when we start to talk about the song Freedom with the question mark with the sister, the beautiful Nikki Greer. We all think we free, but really, we far from the freedom we think we got. And I don't think people understand it because they're doing such an amazing job at how they condition us to see and value freedom to be.
Yes, sir.
But then when we get to certain crossroads and we realize our say really don't factor any part of the equation when it comes to the justice system, when it comes to politics, when it comes to legislation, when it comes to anything. We really find a way over and over and over again how much we are so far from the actual reality of freedom.
Yes, sir.
So, we get into that science, and then we deal with the last song on the album called Satanic. I'll just be finding it interesting when I look at a lot of these rappers and the younger rappers in particularly, and they start playing around with the brandishing and the exploiting and this blasphemous acts of just really recklessly being out here dealing with this demonic thing like it's cool. It's almost like it's a fashion that they brandishing, like it's okay to be out here doing this. And I don't ever want to speak to nobody through my music ever as if I'm trying to condemn them.
Right.
I like to speak to them in a way so that they can be careful of what you playing with and don't think we don't see you. Each and every man got to live and die on his own iniquity anyway. So you ain't got to worry about me. A whole nother thing you better be concerned with, Playboy, because you doing something, even if you doing it in the privacy of your own home, you still doing something you should be mindful of. Because what you're going to have to deal with is something that you may not be able to pay the price of.
Yes, sir.
And stop acting like every choice doesn't come with an invoice, because every choice does come with an invoice.
Yes, sir.
We all gonna have to pay for what we do, just as reward or penalty for one's actions. Or act accordingly. You're gonna find out one way or another if you don't. And that's really it for me with this project. I just wanted to give people an incredible balance of the science and just the traditional hot fire pop music.
Yes, sir.
We got to give them the heat now. We can't play. We got to rep the culture of hip hop and uphold the fundamentals of hip hop and be lyrical and be and be brave and be courageous and come with some concept and some substance and be a showman and inspire the artist to remember it's okay to do what your origin is. You can do whatever you want, actually. That's the beauty of being creative and being the creators and being of the arts. You can do whatever you feel is going to fulfill your spirit when you're in the creative space. But it's especially okay to do what is true to you, because a lot of artists, I feel, they're afraid to do what's true to them, because if it ain't the thing that's the in thing at the time, and if it ain't the cool thing that everybody says you should be doing as a general consensus, it's almost like they're afraid to step in this in their own universe and be comfortable there. They rather try to find their way in to somebody else's universe where you're gonna find your greatest discomfort and live with regret if what you're trying to do somebody else's way don't work for you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good, bad, or indifferent, Sister Starla, I want to be able to be comfortable in my skin and sleep good at night.
Yes, sir.
Knowing everything was on my heart, that was on mine, that I took all of these years to grow into the comfort of feeling like I can actually share certain truths now. Like the song Best I Can.
Yes, sir.
The song Best, it's a powerfully deep record because, it deals with the conflict of the mother and the father and the Black relationship. Unfortunate reality of the dysfunction in the Black family.
Yes, sir.
And how a lot of times design, it's pretty much created to destroy the Black family by design.
Yes, sir.
And living through this experience and having my children and seeing how they were affected directly and indirectly when me and the mother isn't getting along, and all of the disrespect that would transpire in the process. But you, as a father, still make it your business to always be there for your children, because you know and you was raised to make sure that you never compromised, regardless of how challenging. And that's all that I know. That's how I was raised. I'm coming from a very loving family.
Yes, sir.
My mother and my father had their differences in a significant way too, and me and my only brother was deeply affected by that as well. It affected my relationship with my father in a very not so good way.
Mhm.
And it took a long time for me and my dad to get back right. And I never wanted to share this truth in none of my music.
Mm.
You know, Busta Rhymes is the feel good energy, the turn up brother. You know, the party and the vibe of just feeling good. I got tired of walking around with this on my heart,
Mm.
and I got tired of walking around my family and watching how even some of the things that I went through with my kids, mothers, and where I was also affected by what my mother and father went through. I realized how some of that trauma affected me to the point where I've done things that from this long cycle that's been continuing.
Yes, sir.
I'm seeing how things that I've done as has did a disservice to my children. And there's a lot of things that I'm still working on trying to fix and improve and do better.
Yes, yes, sir.
Comes to those things. And the co-parenting with their mothers. And it's been going in a better direction. There's still some things that gotta be worked on. But at the end of the day, you know, I finally came to terms with the fact that I was gonna share this side of my life.
Mm.
I got to a pretty great place with all my kids. I got a little issue with one of my sons that I gotta fix. But with all of my children, it's been such a beautiful thing.
All praise is due to Allah.
All praise is due to Allah.
Yes, sir.
It's been so beautiful that I was actually able to have conversations with my kids to talk about what I wanted to share in this song.
Mm.
And I got their blessing too, because my kids, they done got grown now. And some of them left the nest and they living in their own place. And I'm still getting used to that because I ain't all the way comfortable and used to that yet. I love my kids being in the same house with me because I can
Yes, sir.
protect my children. How? But watching my children become young men and young women and be able to give me perspective even on how it's beautiful to see my kids say, Dad, come rock and talk and give them your truth, Dad, because you ain't told that side.
Yes, sir. All praise is due to Allah, my mother.
All praises are due to Allah.
Pardon me.
You know what, God? That was a powerful bill. You gave me and us profound insight, not just into this project, which I would agree with you, is part of a divine moment that you're a part of. But your build and the jewels you just dropped gave me and us, I think, a lot of insight into your evolution,
Yes, sir.
your growth. And I want to, if I could, God, I need to show appreciation for you sharing with us that your first encounter with the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan. Because to me, what you shared and articulated is one of the greatest illustrations of Black God protocol that I've heard. When you entered that room and you entered the presence of the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan, and you felt the way you felt, that man made you feel in a way that no other man has ever done. And I would add, because I can empathize, no other man could do. All of us men who enter into the presence of that man, we have the exact same experience, because that's not our protocol. You entered that room as a God, but you entered upon a greater God. And the natural order of Black God protocol makes us feel the way we feel, makes us submit to the divine order that we submit to. You didn't need instruction. You said you watching the brothers. You didn't know if it was right for you to enter, and you waited until you got the green light to enter. That's Black God protocol. You were a God when you entered, and you entered among gods. Now look, man, what the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan, the Black God energy that we get hit with, that you just so eloquently described when you met the minister, that Black God energy that all of us get hit with, it's described in the scripture as part of what's called, now Don Enoch told me don't get too professorial, so I'm gonna try to keep it but you inspired me with your experience, and I just wanted the people to to understand the Black God protocol that you illustrated. Because see, in scripture, they call it theophany. When humans meet the living God versus the dead God, we God bodies, so we know the language true and living God. You entered upon the true and living God when you encountered the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan. In the scripture described it when gods meet the God, he's so full with Black God energy that it connects with our own molecules. And that's why we feel the way we feel. We can't explain it, but through the scripture, we can explain it. That's a theophany that we have, and we are gods encountering a greater God, and the humility with which you shared that, especially because we God body. I think, Lord, you gave us, you showed, you exemplified Black God protocol right there. Because you God as a successful hip hop artist, you also God as God body 5%. But you weren't too proud to acknowledge, to share with us the reality of that experience you had with the greatest God on the scene right now. There ain't no shame in acknowledging that, and ain't no shame for God to submit at the right moment to a greater God when the circumstances calls for it. So I want to thank you, Black God, for the jewels you shared and the testimony you gave just now.
And Brother Busta, just to let you know, we're getting so many comments that what you have spoken is just resonating with the audience. I mean, people talking about, their own experiences and how you are helping them. It's like therapeutic. You sharing with us, you pouring out your spirit, your thoughts, your pain, just like we all go through. It's helping a lot of people, my brother. So all praises due to Allah. Thank you. Thank you so very
much. Testimony, a most valuable testimony that I think further illustrate the correctness of your perception that you are right now in the midst of a divine moment. This is a divine moment. The energy that you're offering, that is, I believe, one of the signs that your offering has cosmic significance. It ain't just the guy Busta Rhymes dropped the right album at the right moment and the right elements you brought together. God did that. We live in, you are exemplifying Black God protocol right now, Lord. I salute you for that.
Thank you, Almighty. Thank you, Almighty. I mean, at the end of the day, the one thing that made me believe how powerful Black man is one day, as a child, my mother was working nights. So she used to pick me up, and this is when I'm in elementary school, from my aunt's crib. And she picked me up about 6 o'clock in the morning from my aunt's crib and bring me to the house. And, you know, we was all on 9 o'clock bedtime curfew at that time. And so I'm excited when I wake up, because I done had more than enough sleep. I want to get my breakfast. I want to watch all the dope cartoons that come on in that time. Voltron was coming on and Transformers was coming on. And, you know, I'm sitting in the crib and I'm looking at the Transformers and I'm seeing the names like Megatron and Soundwave, Optimus Prime. And I finish getting dressed to go to school. And this is when I'm living in East Flat, Brooklyn, and my school was literally around the corner. This public school called PS 181. And Special Ed, the rapper, was also in that elementary school with me at the time. So I walked from my crib to the corner of the block, and on the corner of my block is a store that's owned by some Spanish brothers, and we ain't know none of their names. So everybody in the store, we just call them Pancho. So all the Spanish brothers, it didn't matter which one of them. What's good, Pancho? Could you give me a pack of Now Laters? You give me a bag of Doritos, potato chips, or whatever. And with snacks before we go. And you come out the store, and then the guards would be there, right? And I'm listening to them building in the ciphers, and you know, I'm hearing them talking about the total square mileage of the planet and total square mileage of land and water. How much does the Earth weigh, and how far is each planet from the sun, and how fast sound travel? And God is the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet, all the civilization, God of the universe. And I'm sitting there as this little boy in amazement. They calling each other by their attributes. Lord Victorious, Supreme Magnetic, Born Justice. And I'm like, yo, the Transformers had names like Megatron and Soundwave. And I'm like, yo, these is the Transformers in real life. Yo, they talking about all of this, how far each planet is from the sun, and they, oh, yo, I'm like, this ain't happening in school. And these is black men, and they standing on the corner of the block. I was like, the original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet, father of civilization, God of the universe.
That's right.
That sound like that, like one of the intros about where the Transformers come from and how they the saviors of the universe.
Yes,
they go around fighting over these different planets, beefing with each other as robots. And I'm like, nah. I want this. And my family at the time was Seventh-day Adventists. So, you know, before I actually got in public school, I used to go to Seventh-day Adventist school. And I'm just looking in the Bible, and I'm hearing everything going on at the Seventh-day Adventist school. And I'm like, man, I don't see no black people in none of this book. And I'm not hearing about no black people in no part of the book. I ain't seeing about no other race, period, in this book. Not Spanish, not Indian, not African, not Asian, nobody. You telling me that y'all was the only ones in the whole existence in this book?
Word.
Started to come to the crib with degrees from 120-degree lessons. And I'm going through 120. And one day I came in the house and my mom found my lessons. She ripped them up and she gave me one serious spanking that I it was just the thing that saying, yo, the thing you got, you crazy. Part of my language, Sister Starla. You better never come back like that again. As we got older, because I wasn't listening, I took that spanking and I was like, listen, Ma, you're going to just have to continue to deal with me this way because I'm not going to stop studying this level of high science because not only is it powerful, but it's making me feel great about me, man.
Yes, sir.
I feel good. Ain't nobody else telling me this about me. Ain't nobody else teaching me this about me. And this is when the crossroad happens. This is when this Busta Rhymes that y'all have grown to know and love started to blossom from that. From those seeds that was planted in my mind and in my soul. I held on to it for dear life. And I walked with the rest of my life. And it has turned to something, affections that I come with. I ain't never been more prouder than who I've become. I don't know what I would have. I didn't get knowledge of self, and I wasn't given Islam. I don't know what I would have became, and I'm glad. I'm so glad because there's nothing that I have wanted, tried to accomplish, that I have not been able to successfully accomplish. Successfully happen, even if it took a long time that I could have figured out and didn't want it to take that long, but the patience
with the process.
As I got older, become this. It was a process, but a great asset to learn to be comfortable in the space of. A lot of us is impatient. A lot of us don't appreciate patience. We want everything when we want it. We spoiled as hell. It's like this sense of entitlement. Like we supposed to just get what we want whenever we want it. Right. You know, and it is a great conception to that, especially when you get older. Something that I understand kids, you know, we spoil our children because we want the best for them. So they turn into these little brats sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But when you get older, you're supposed to know better. You're supposed to learn. You're supposed to evolve. You're supposed to value time. Take time for granted. Don't act like what you can do today, but actually ain't owed tomorrow neither. Tomorrow ain't owed to us, you know, but still allow things to happen in its divine order and divine time. And for me, it's been such a beautiful thing to have learned to appreciate because it has also allowed me to learn how to right a lot of my wrongs. Sometimes you're supposed to get fixed when you want to fix. You get an argument with someone, say something to someone, their feelings. You can't just get up and try to control how they're supposed to react. That's why we got to be mindful of what we're doing. You can't slap somebody and then try to act like just because you slap somebody, they supposed to slap you back. No, if they come back and shoot you, you pause that. So be mindful of what you're doing. Now, I'm saying all of this to say, again, going back to my children, I'm grateful that I still have the opportunity, certain, and that I'm things in that can with me, and they love each other enough to try to fix these things together.
Yes, sir.
And some of these things take time to fix. But the fact that having the dialogue necessary, we identify with what the issues are. Some of them got to figure out, but the fact that there's a collective effort. My kids, they so proud of me right now. What I'm doing with this album, the phone calls they're getting from their friends, and they ain't heard their peers in their little immediate circle of friends and homes, and you know, whoever they have not heard the conversation be as fluent about their father, because I ain't put out an album in 11 years, and so much has changed with the game. There's a lot that become the new hot thing, you know what I'm saying? And you know, I'm not the new guy no more. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's a little. There ain't too many dudes from our alumni that my kid generation is talking about. So, in this particular moment, the impact that this extinction level event to the wrath of God is having is a significant one, because most of the people on my album, with the exception of Kendrick Lamar and Anderson .Paak, is from alumni. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
With Mary J. Blige and, you know, Old Dirty Bastard, Mariah Carey, Belle Biv DeVoe, you know, Pete Rock, Rakim, you know. It's like that's our era, you know?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Wesley says, that's our era.
Yes, sir.
You know, so to hear the love and the appreciation that my kids are giving me because they love what the album sounds like, it superseded their level of it, and their friends is wilding out, and it's pretty much just in the general cases that this body of work has been fantastic. And it is probably one of the great, if not the best album of 2020. And I hope it continues into 2021 with the same energy from the people. But, you know, I ain't gonna lie, man. There's been some moments when I got the barbecue grill on, flame grill in the backyard at the crib, and the burger, hot dog, whatever. You know, I'm being Busta Rhymes, the daddy chef. And, you know, I'm watching my kids in the backyard, and they with their friends, and they talking about who their favorite rappers is. And I'm sitting right there, and they ain't mentioning.
You feel
Dr. West, I ain't
my children used
I was feeling some kind of way.
Educators and not me, I feel some type of way. I feel you.
Brother Busta, you have been so generous with your time.
and you know, these is your kids.
I feel you, Busta.
What you saying, Sister Starla?
I was gonna say, you've blessed us and been so generous with your time. I did want to ask you and delve into, I mean, the visually stunning video for Master Fard Muhammad. Literally, when I was viewing it this morning, I was feeling goosebumps.
Yes.
You know, seeing our brother Rick Ross, you know, the FOI.
Oh, wow.
Can you share just a little bit, you know, about what went in to what was going to be presented in the video, how this track came about, and then I would love for you and Dr. Wesley to kind of share with members of the viewing audience who may not be familiar with some of the terminology that you shared. You know, who is Master Fard Muhammad? Who is the Father Allah? I know that's a lot, and I don't know how much longer, you know, you had to share with us, Brother Busta, but, you know, your influence, you know, of course, with the 5% Nation, the influence of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Just talk a bit about this project, the video, what went into the visuals, and Dr. Wesley, I'd like you to chime in as well in terms of sharing some things with our viewership.
Right, but even before that, Buster, if I could add to her question regarding this powerful video, Master Fard Muhammad, in answering her question, could you give us insight, because why it seized my attention the way it did? You know, being God body, and so loving all the 5% hip hop artists, the Savior's name has been name dropped before, right? Rakim would name drop, Brand Nubian's name drop. So it's not
Right.
out of place that I, as a believer, as a Muslim, as a 5%er, will hear the Savior's name dropped on an album. But you have offered something very unique that I don't know of another parallel. Dre Electronica, for example, he drops the name of the Savior, but
Right.
you have offered something very unique that I would really love to get some insight into your thinking about it. You didn't just
Right.
mention God in a bar or two. Shout out to Rick Ross too, but you titled the track after the Savior. Then you made the video. You released that as a single, the video, and the Savior is so prominently, visually displayed in the video. What seems to be so unique to this project, you centered Master Fard Muhammad in a way that I don't recall ever seeing. You didn't just allude to him or name drop him. You centered the Savior in a way that I'm not familiar with. So I'm really, as you answer Sister Starla's question about the context of this visual offering, but can you help us understand what moved you to center Master Fard Muhammad in the way that you did?
Dr. West, first and foremost, I just felt like it was a duty. You know, I've always had a issue with Black History Month, first and foremost, is kind of what's rooted is for me. Just in general, right? In school, outside of school, I always had an issue with the fact that they're going to give us the shortest month of the year and call it Black History Month. And then they're going to give us the same people every year talk about. It never once mentioned the father, Clarence 13X.
That's right.
They never mentioned the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. They don't. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Right.
They absolutely never talk about Master Fard Muhammad.
That's right.
Never.
Right.
I never ever hear nothing about Master Fard. And I just was like, how, like, just from a logical place, right? If you're selling X, right? We hear a lot about Malcolm X. Great Malcolm X. Why we ain't talking about what is the seed of his origin?
That's right.
That's just simple logic.
Right.
If Malcolm X was so, I want to know what is the source that made him as incredible and as compelling and as he.
Beautiful.
And I'm
point.
standing around here and I'm watching this for too long. That's it. It just felt like it was. It is going on long enough to me. Master Fard gave to the only black movement that we have that has been maintained in a way that, by example, we should be inspired and we should look at this infrastructure called the Nation of Islam and do everything to add to whatever other brotherhoods that are in existence. Look at the organization and the mobilization of the nation and say, what can we do to make our infrastructure just as, if not more so, organized, powerful, and beautiful? Because we're going through these eras and these changes in time, and we've been super stagnant.
Yes, sir.
We ain't got no black leaders left. And that he is getting old, because I love him very much. I don't never want him to go nowhere. Never. Who's going to pick up the torch when he's gone? Those are not shoes that can easily be filled.
That's a fact.
While he's here, right, we should take advantage of the opportunity that we have to still be able to get next to him, build with him, get some direction, get some guidance. I love what the brothers, I got a beautiful brothers in the 5% Nation. I got a brother from the 5% Nation that I speak to on a regular basis. And he does so much with organizing this for the gods and the earths that allows us to deal with this social activity that's a beautiful thing, and teaching these babies and helping them understand the seriousness, the importance, and the significance of the family, the discipline, the health regimen, the time that needs to be made to deal with doing the research, studying, lessons, even outside of the lessons, to help reestablish the presence that the 5 nations and the gods and earths used to really have in the 80s and in the early 90s and the mid 90s.
That's right.
And I'm super proud of God for that. He actually has a platform on social media called Live from Mecca. And incredibly. But again, to answer the question personally, that Master Fard needed to be agnopoly. And that was really it in a nutshell. I've been knowing and I've been taught about the significance of Master Fard since I was a little boy. Since I was a little boy. How this man, this powerful man, beautiful brother, he came over here, went to Detroit, sold silks, taught the people, gave birth to Elijah Muhammad.
That's right.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
That's
gave
right.
birth to a powerful nation that also gave birth to Class 13X.
Right.
That in turn, he gave birth to the nation. So all of this whole thing was domino effect from Master Fard.
That is right.
So I'm gonna make this record, and I hope I don't disappoint nobody. I just want to be informative. I just want to teach. But you know, outcome is so big. This is the thing that I'm feeling like I'm obligated to do. So this is what I'm doing. And I ain't asking nobody permission except the minister, Brother Don. That's it. If I get their blessing, if the blessing come from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and he give me the green light, I even had the picture sent to me from Brother Don because I ain't want to grab no. I wanted the best quality picture of Master Fard that I could have. I ain't want to take it off the internet or that. I asked Brother Don to send me whatever the most authentic picture is that you have. Send it to me. We're gonna use that. And I quickly wrote Rick Ross. That was produced by two incredible named Terrace Martin and the other brother's name to those two brothers. And the music sounded so beautiful because see, Terrace is a live musician talent. He can play horns. There's pianos, there's phones, there's strings. And it reminded me of Minister Lou Farrakhan because he played violin.
Right.
That's right.
So I was like, this music sound like something that Minister Farrakhan would enjoy because
it does.
Instrumentation. And
Yes,
he is an incredible talent himself.
That's right.
So I said, all right, the music is speaking to me in that way. I'm gonna make this record, I'm gonna call it Master Fard because there's so many things. And I wanted to speak it in a way to people that ain't got no awareness of who he is. And I needed to speak to them in the way that they would get it and still think it was fly. Like if I was talking to them in the street about it.
Yes, sir.
That's why my rhyme. Thank you, beloved. Thank you so much, beloved. And you know, having the picture of him in the house centered, you know, there's always a beautiful picture when you walk in anybody's home of someone, whether it's a family member,
that is right,
an incredible,
beautiful.
Like I want this picture to look like a beautiful gold frame, like right over the fireplace, just the regalness, the statement and the signal and the frequency that was going to send.
Off the chain.
Because see, the video was about, thank you, beloved, but the video is about this child, this young boy that be in the hood running around all the time and mischief. That's why the video start off with the boy cleaning the blood off his eye, his eyebrow, and his mom's in there praying for him. And you know, they got the typical black man get killed on the news in his house. And we live in unity. And we buying up the neighborhood. We buying back the block, buying up stores. We buying up this. We turning our neighborhood back into what is ours. And we fighting and pushing back against the gentrification. And this is the science we giving people through this visual. So, you know, as I'm riding through the neighborhood from time to time, and I see this little boy, the neighbor constantly getting into something, I just decided one day to send for him. So we send for him because he going through his own struggle between right and devilishment, right? He looking at the Quran, right? But he would still go outside and act up. But it's like he he got this. He's in the middle of this struggle between
the
people,
two
right?
paths.
And I'm seeing something beautiful in this boy. So one day I send for him, and we send the Rolls Royce over there to get him, and we tell him he got to dress up appropriately when he's coming back to meet with us. So then he put button up, and he can't come in on street clothes, no pants hanging off your ass, and we're not doing that. Put your button up, tuck your shirt in your pants, tighten up your belt. Pants is on your waistline and it ain't falling down, looking crazy. Put some shoes on and look like a gentleman real quick. And we gonna send for you. And when you get to us, we're gonna show you empowerment. We're gonna show you what you need to evolve into. And you probably thought we just some dudes running around here getting money in the street, pushing in Rolls Royces and all of that, because you ain't never had the opportunity to be welcomed amongst this level. You was never welcomed amongst this level of civilization before, young blood.
That's
so
right.
Come on and get amongst.
Wow.
Get just look.
Come among the gods.
You amongst the gods now, and we're gonna show you better than we can tell you. That's why you see.
That's right.
My brother Shabbat in the room with the other brothers, and they looking at blueprints because we showing the young bro. We doing the on the geographic landscape of our town, and this is the neighborhood you live in, and we gonna buy back all the businesses. We gonna buy up all the land. We gonna buy up all the homes. We gonna deal with food, clothing, and shelter. And we're going to make sure that we control that. And we want you to see this, King. Young King, we want you to see this. And the beautiful thing about it is the fruit in there, have some brothers that was just regular black brothers that was dealing with civilization, even though they may not be Muslim or even 5%. They students of the knowledge of self trying to become that.
Yes, sir.
It's like, is what you, young man, you're going to take this in and you're going to learn from this, and you're going to become great from this day moving forward now that you've experienced this. And I wanted people to see the picture of the father, Clarence 13X, too.
Yes,
and
sir.
understand
Right.
This man was extremely significant.
Right.
And to an entire nation of young brothers. And
right.
When I was telling you earlier about these brothers that was on the corner talking about how far each planet was from the sun and the total square miles of land and water and how much the earth weighed, and they sounded like these was the real life transformers to me. Clarence 13X was that man that was responsible for that.
That's
Right.
right.
Part of
That is
my
right.
introduction
That is right.
to being
That is right.
the empowered black man.
That's right.
So I just wanted everybody to understand the significance of these two incredibly powerful individuals. You're going to learn something today from this bus. We're not just here running around doing all of these whatever's that is being done. You're going to learn. You're going to walk away with something very powerful and very much needed. And we know about the same people they've been telling us about for a long time. But do you know about these brothers, y'all? Because I don't know, none of my kids got friends that's 5% or even in the nation. I remember when I was young, I had a bunch of friends that were gods and earths and was members of the nation. And they was actually even a part of the Zulu nation.
Sure.
In that era, it was cool to be smart. And it was cool to have knowledge of self. It was crazy if you didn't have it. That was our era.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? I miss that
era, Busta. I miss that era.
I miss it. You know, it was a powerful time. Yo, let me split, man. Listen, I remember having a crush on this earth, this beautiful earth, in George Westinghouse Technical and Vocational High School. And me and Biggie and Jay-Z was in the same school. Earth that used to walk around in the school with her head wraps. She had the universal flag of the 5% Nation of the Gods and Earths right on the forehead part of her head wrap. And she was in 3/4 every day. She made her own clothes. So just the color coordination and the beauty that she and the styling of her 3/4, it just made her look. It wasn't just 3/4 because you was covering up. She added fashion forward thinking to her 3/4. So she used to walk up and down the school and she mastered 120. She was so swift with 120. If you were in school and you wasn't sharp, you actually got out the hallway because you knew she was going to approach you and ask you why you're not in class. If you're not in class, then how you see today's degree in 120 degrees of lessons? And you couldn't, all of that laughing and joking, that had to stop immediately. And it was scolding she was giving you, but with grace, because she wasn't raising her voice and she wasn't disrespecting you. And she was, if you didn't know your degree, she would say, see, this is exactly why you shouldn't be in the hallway. God, please go to class, God. And the next time we see each other, please be sharper with your degrees. Don't misrepresent the gods in us, please. And she would go about her business with her books in her hand, and she would walk down the corridor. I used to want to marry this woman. Like, it was just something about this woman that resonated with me so powerfully. And she, to this day, is over 50 years old. And she is still in the name of the Father, still in the name of Allah. And she is still Taija. And she is incredibly brilliant as a mother, as a teacher. She owns a masseuse company. She is just one of those beautiful queens that she just represented as one of the most powerful examples of a woman I've ever seen being Earth. And I just really appreciated these things that really made me feel so good about the civilization that we was blessed to have via Islam. You know what I'm saying? Via Master Fard, via the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, via Malcolm X, via the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, via Father Clarence 13X. These were the examples of powerful Black men that I was always striving to want to be like.
Wow.
I just always am grateful.
And you're doing a great job in your lane, Black God. In your lane.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you, God.
Just with the impact and influence, of the teachings, on you, and then you and Dr. Wesley spoke about earlier, because I grew up in that era as well. So, listening to, Brand Nubian, Poor Righteous Teachers, Rakim, that's what, ushered me into a search of knowledge. So have you ever considered, or have you and any of the brothers, J Electronica, Rakim, any of the Wu-Tang, ever considered maybe doing some sort of project with other God MCs, 5% Nation, with the idea of spreading more of the teachings throughout the world via hip hop? Particularly, I think, with J Elect and his release, and now with you, do you see maybe a rejuvenation and something, another spark and another era being started based on, what we grew up in?
You know what, Sister Starla? I did not think of that. Would love to lead the charge. And I'm definitely going to make sure that it's understood that you planted the seed on that whole idea, because I think that's an incredible idea. You know what I'm saying? The guards from Brand Nubian, you know, I love the brothers. Rakim, I love the God. You know, we speak fluently. The God Big Daddy came in when I was a young aspiring artist trying to get it together. He was always there for me. You know, he made me proud of having knowledge of self, and he used to always let me come to his beautiful home in the Jamaica Estates in Queens. This was back when he had this purple Mercedes Benz with this blowout kit on it. It looked like Batmobile or something. And the God King Asiatic, Big Daddy Kane, man, he used to always, you know, I would love to do this with those brothers. J-Elect, you know.
Peace to the God.
I mean, what? Peace to the God. I think overall.
With full disclosure, Brother Busta, that seed did not come from me. It was a seed that was passed along from a brother who didn't want me to mention his name, but I want to give credit where credit is due. I won't mention his name because he didn't want me to, but that was a question that that he, you know, if I had the opportunity to pose to you, that he wanted me to pose to you. So shout out to that brother who will remain nameless.
Shout out to that brother, and please say that brother, if he's watching, thank you for the idea. And I do hope one day you do disclose who you are, because we should, you know, give the accolades to you for being so thoughtful in that way, because, you know, we all are so caught up in dealing with these day-to-day trivial and day-to-day very serious challenges that we face in the street, and particularly in these times. And I think we sometimes don't see obvious and the most powerful things be right in front of us that could have the most impact and the most everlasting effect on a generation that actually needs it more so now than ever. You know what I'm saying? That would be probably one of the most incredible, especially if we blew and got real success from a project like that.
That's real. That's real.
The kids and anybody actually always, whatever is the wave, everybody want to follow that wave. Or if we was to actually do a project like that and it blew and it had some real legs to the project and some success, that, you know, we would garnish the right way just from making it.
There's no way that would not be success. There's no way that would not be stuck.
I have to agree, beloved, especially with all of the great minds and years of experience that between all of us brothers, we would be able to, you know, come together and gel these great minds creatively. I can't even understand. I can't foresee any possible failure or lack of anything that would be needed creatively, with all of us being able to rock out for a few months to make this real special and curate it the right way. It would be incredible to do that.
The God project, whatever
I'm
you
all
want.
for.
And you know, Busta,
you know what? I'm actually.
No, go ahead.
Reach out to the brothers, and I'm gonna start seeing if we could start it. Yeah, I was saying I want to reach out to the brothers to see if we can start getting this started, because it just seems like it feels like we need to do this sooner than later. You know, so I'm gonna lead the charge.
Praise be to Allah.
Yeah. That's powerful, because if I could say this, God, this a divine moment. You described it aptly. They did a study, Lord, of the changing of the language in hip hop, and how at the beginning of hip hop there were certain words you always heard: Islam, Allah, right. Because of course Islam dominated hip hop.
Yes.
But they how Islam and Allah, that language was removed from hip hop until after 1995, after the Million Man March. The success of
Right.
it, the assault on hip hop, the weaponization of hip hop that happened, Allah in Islam disappears from the hip hop lexicon.
Right.
And so to
Right.
have you, J-Elect, he's repping Islam in his way.
Absolute.
And so we see the tide turning with
Right.
with the lexicon in the moment, in the culture of hip hop. I see a revitalization of hip hop as a culture that could be appreciated, because hip hop, the culture, degenerated. Hip hop, the culture, when Islam and Allah were part of the lexicon, Islam, hip hop was a culture that should be emulated, but then it degenerated. So this revitalization of the culture of hip hop that you all were powerful part of, man, it's an exciting time. Not just, I'm not a hip hop artist, but I'm Islam. I'm God body. So it's exciting for me to see the re-energizing of Islam, re-infusing of Islam in the culture in such a boss way, not a corny way. I hate when people do Islam corny. Oh, rep Islam corny. I hate that. You repping and while the video and the song, and again, shout out to Ricky Rose. Y'all rep the God and boss way. Y'all made Islam. Shout out to Elijah Farrakhan and all the fruit that represented, because y'all made Islam, y'all represented Islam in the boss way that Islam is.
Absolutely. So
Yes,
perception is reality, but it's even more reality when it's substantiated by show and prove.
That's right. That's right.
It don't just look good.
That's right.
It's actually the greatest thing in existence.
Islam is boss. That's real.
It's straight boss.
And that's what we
It's
get
all the way
when
boss.
we partake of your project. That's what we get. Islam is boss.
yes, sir.
Yes, indeed, beloved.
It has indeed been our honor, and it's been a pleasure to have you on this evening. If you can just again share with our audience where they can get this dope release. You know, what are the different streaming platforms, and then any parting words that you would like to share before we let you go this evening.
Yes. First and foremost, again, to those that have not somehow seen all of the incredible activity that's been going on, all of the incredible love and incredible support from all of my peers in hip hop, all of the fans and the supporters and the extended family that has grown to know and love Busta Rhymes for the last 29 years of my professional recording career. If y'all have not seen the abundance of love that they have all been showing me in the last 48 hours, in such a dynamic and overwhelming way because of the release of this new album, please let me be the first to tell you my 10th solo album, 11 years strong, in the making. Extinction Level Event, Wrath of God, is available and streaming on every single platform. Spotify, Tidal, Google Play, you know, every single streaming platform, it's available. I have 4 videos out right now from this album. The Don and the Boss featuring Vibe Cartel, You featuring Anderson .Paak, Czar featuring MOP, Chris Rock, and Michael Blackson. Then we have Master Father Muhammad featuring my brother Ricky Rose. Enjoy the experience of this incredible art, my latest contribution to the culture that we all love is hip hop. And, you know, experience a level of greatness and classic, incredible, cohesive body of work by pressing play from top to bottom. Don't skip a song. You know, the streaming platforms have conditioned a lot of you new consumers on how to just dissect albums the wrong way. Press play, back, feet up, and let it just rock out from top to bottom and find all of the hidden treasures in this incredible, cohesive body of work. And last but not least, I just want to thank everybody for really, really, really still loving Busta Rhymes and still appreciating what I have to offer and still just, you know, being patient and give opportunity to give y'all my best effort to date. And, you know, I hope y'all receive it well and y'all are just as enthusiastic about it as I am. And let's continue to keep it going and keep it growing together. And, you know, with all that being said, thank Dr. Wesley. I want to thank Sister Starla. I want to thank Brother Don for helping put this together.
Yes, sir.
I want to thank the incredible, honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for being such an incredible, impactful influence and teacher and great example of what it is to truly be a man and true and living God. I want to also thank the entire 5% nation of the gods and earths.
That's right.
I want to thank my family. I want to thank my kids. And I just want to shout out, you know, every person that played a significant role in the putting together of this project. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that really, really, really helped in significant ways for me to be able to share this magic with everyone. You know, from artists to recording engineers to producers to assistant engineers to even the brothers that would run to the store to get you food so you could continue to have to continue to work. You know what I'm saying? All of those people that was involved with every dynamic of putting together this project and keeping my energy in the right place so that I could continue to be my best self. Thank all of you. And I'm grateful for this opportunity. I'm grateful y'all, you know, made time to speak to me because, you know, I do know a lot of brothers that work hard and put out their project and the awareness ain't right about how that project was presented to the world. So people don't even know that it's out. And they putting their heart and soul into this music, sharing their life and their vulnerability. And people don't know because it's supported properly. Nobody don't want to talk to them. You know, it's a blessing when to actually build with you and opportunity to build with them and then build with the world. And, you know, I'm grateful because this could have went in a whole nother direction and people didn't have to receive the album as well as they are. And nobody don't really want to talk to you. You ain't doing your part. So I'm glad that, you know, I'm just in this space again, like I said earlier when we started, I'm really peace, you know, with the way things are going with this project and the love and the support and how incredibly well it's being received. I just want everybody to just continue to ride out with me, you know, and we're gonna ride out until the wheels fall. And at that point, if we gotta pull over and get the spare tire and screw it back on the car so we can jump back in the whip and that's what we're gonna do.
Real talk.
All praises do it. And peace to the gods.
Yes, sir. Brother Dr. Wesley Muhammad, thank you so much, my brother Busta Rhymes. May Allah continue to bless both of you, incredible brothers. This has been a wonderful dialogue. I mean, the comments are coming in. People are inspired. They love your project. They love you, Busta. And I believe to take us home, I think our technical whiz is going to play some powerful words that Student National Assistant Minister Ishmael Muhammad shared on the Nation of Islam's national this morning, giving you a big, huge shout out. So, Brother Troy, you can cue that. And then right after that, we've got ELE2, The Wrath of God, featuring Busta Rhymes and the Honorable Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan. Thank you all for tuning in. May Allah continue to bless each and every one of you. And assalamu alaikum. This has been a Final Call Conversation.